Here we are. We are being recorded. So what we're talking about is creating our value chart from our makeup kit. You're using your makeup, everything that you have in your kit, and I think you have, if you count your sponges and everything, you have 21 items, but how many colors do you have? If you count each of your quads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, your dry rouge, your pencils, 3 pencils, your white, your highlight, your character shadow, your 3 foundations, your powder can even be on there, can even be placed because it does give you some sense of color in some way. So think about, get all of your items out that are able to be put onto a piece of paper some way. Now these have been put on with a brush or a Q-tip works great. If you have a cotton swab, you can just put the swab in there, slide it along the makeup. Let me get this out. This one really doesn't want to open. Thank you very much. So, you can just slide your Q-tip along and then you just rub it on your paper for 1 inch, okay? So that is the technical way that we're doing it. Every item out, every item swatched, every item goes on the paper. You might want to swatch to a scratch paper and label it so that you can have an opportunity to move them into different positions. Okay, Christine, what's your question?
Actually, I can't see the white.
You can't see the light or the white?
The white on the whiteboard.
Okay, the writing on the whiteboard you can't see. Okay, great.
The white up the top where it says white, we can't see that.
Oh yeah, I know that. We're not talking about that right now.
Are you only including, like you only want our little round ones, like not the fake blood or the liquid latex?
Hold on a minute, Colby.
Okay, sorry.
So I want to confirm, is it just that you say you can't see the word white?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you can see it.
Thanks.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So now Colby.
Yeah.
I think you should include the blood.
Okay.
But I don't think you should, and the blood is a little bit difficult to work with because it's a liquid. There will be more of a translucent quality to it. So translucent means that it's not transparent, but we can see through it in a sort of a filtered way, okay? But don't worry about the latex. That'll just stink you out of your room, and the purpose of latex will always be to have it covered up anyway.
Okay, and the scar wax, same thing?
I wouldn't worry about the scar wax.
Okay. And Snow White hair color?
That might be interesting.
Okay.
It might be interesting just in contrast to your white liner, to see which one is more opaque. Often we end up using the white liner for, we can touch up the brow with the white liner because it gives you an instant hit instead of the Snow White, which is very liquidy. And some people have ivory. They don't have Snow White.
They have what?
They have ivory hair color and not Snow White hair color. Depending on your kit, you have a different makeup.
Oh,
yeah. So now I'm just going to go back to the value chart for a brief moment to discuss this. Color has 3 properties. When we're talking about color, there are 3 properties that make up the color. There's the value of the color. This is so we can have a detailed discussion about the what is missing with the color. We will often talk about the value of it. We will talk about the intensity. Does it need to have the color enriched, or does it need to have the color backed off? And we will talk about the name of the color, which we know as hue. So the hue is the name by which we call the color. Red, pink. Often I'll say you might need more yellow in this piece. you might need more red, maybe you need to stipple with whatever. So those are the three properties of color that we deal with. Value is the distance from white to black moving through the mid-tone, which is going to be the actual color. So if I put red at the mid-tone, I'm going to move through pink to white. I'm going to move through maroon to dark maroon to almost brown to black, right? So you understand if we make a value chart from white to black, we have a grayscale. When we make a value chart with a pigment, we're going to go from a white through a tint to the actual color, then to this darkest shade of black, and that changes what things look like. When you do that with yellow, you go to a lighter yellow, and when you get down here, as you're moving to black, you get to green tones. That's where you get dark olive and things like that. Okay, so we're going to work on this again with clown, so don't worry about it too much right now. This is just a brief introduction. I just want you to have some language. Intensity is the amount of contamination that the pigment has when it moves away from the purity of the actual midtone, how far it moves away from the color. So this is where it's the brightest color right in the center. And as we contaminate with other colors, and typically that is the color complement.
Hi, Wanda.
So if we talk red, green, then we are adding and we are desaturating the color. So we'll have the brightest color here. And as we move away from the center of the color towards another color, generally the color complement, because if we're working on the color wheel, right? Red, yellow, blue, purple or violet, orange, green. Here's the color complement for red, green. It's not just because somebody made up that wheel. It is because that your eye actually operates that way. Your eyes have rods and cones, and the rods and cones work in opposition, and they see certain particular colors. And generally when you're colorblind, you're red, green colorblind. So that's the way that relationship is. So when we're moving away from the value to another color, you are desaturating the color. Think about it like this. You're washing a bunch of red clothes and you throw a white t-shirt in there and it ends up being pink. It's going to lose its brightness because it's now contaminated with another color. Does that make sense? Helpful? That's really important because in makeup, when you start getting a muddy look, it's because you have contaminated the intensity or you've mixed your light over black, over dark. That's why I want you to do this now, because I'm going to do a quick demo of thin face, where we're going to need to work with our lights and then our darks. And then that will create, as I showed you my thin face Michael Jackson before. And then we're also going to work with trying to create round face. That will be for Monday. So you should all have your inspiration pictures for thin face at the minimum. And we will execute that. You know, I'll make sure that you have more than an hour, but let's take a few minutes and do this value chart, because I had a sneaking suspicion you weren't doing it on your own. It is something usually we do in class. So I'd like to give you a few minutes to do that. Is everybody ready with a piece of paper that they can put it on with some Q-tips or a way to swatch the color onto your paper? And you basically have everything out. And I'm going to put you in pairs because you may have an idea, Colby, just like you said, like, well, what do you think? Do you think that this character shadow is lighter or darker than this other one? Okay. All right. Let me just grab some rooms. So if you can't participate, Svensson, because she's in China, so it makes it harder for the Wi-Fi signal, but you can verbally participate, correct? Just give me a high five. I like that high five. All right, let's go in. I'm just going to arbitrarily put you in. Let's do 3 rooms, so you'll be 3 in a room. Okay, the rooms are open. You can go into a room and I will visit each room. Okay, are you guys clear on our process?
I don't understand what we're doing together though.
Well, you may have a question in color. And also, instead of having everybody on the screen, you 3 can be working together and say, okay, I have white, but maybe somebody else does not have hair white and they have a different one. And it'll just be an informative way. When you get into these colors, cinnamon or maybe character shadow 3, you might want to see if you have a different opinion about which one's lighter, because they get very tricky. And it just might have another voice. Well, you can look at what they have, and then you know what? Take notes.
So should I use like everything that I have?
Yeah. You can
Okay.
swatch everything you have, but when you get to a good value chart, take notes so you write down if it's CS3 and then you can translate that. Okay?
Okay.
So you understand, Sue and Svensson, and Svensson doesn't have a kit yet either. So Sue, you're gonna have your kit and you'll be the model.
I missed some of it because I tried to sign on to the old one, and then I guess I should have signed on to the new one. I was confused with where to sign on for the class.
I signed on, and I'm going to make this note. I'm going to have you sign on exactly what I do. Every time I go to the home page and I sign on to that Zoom link. That Zoom link never changes, but somehow I think there's some kind of weird Zoom memory or something. So always go to that Zoom link from the home page. That's how I get there. Okay? So I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to try and
Well, I signed on. I signed on from the old one that says 131 and 136, but I never got anywhere. Or whatever the class number this is, I forget. But I didn't get anywhere, so then I went back to where I signed on for the corrective and the glamour, and I got there from there.
Okay.
I got here from there.
So when we get back into
From the
class,
glamour.
we'll talk about, if you just go to the home page and click on that link every time, that will be consistent. Then you're not looking around for it. Go to one place. Just the home page.
The home page in the canvas, you
Yeah.
mean, right?
Yeah. I'm going to make a note and I'll show you when we get back into group, okay? So Suze, can
Okay.
you show them your kit? Like, can you hold up when you swatch your things, can you just
My kit's kind of picking apart now.
That's fine. No,
So
that's exactly right. No, I don't mean to put it together. I mean, just swatch things and write a name beside it so they can see what it looks like.
well, I have this is the wheel you were talking about, the contour wheel with the cinnamon and the
Up to your camera.
rose and the black. Huh?
Hold it up to your camera like this. And tilt it.
Oh yeah, that. Like
There you go. Perfect.
the contour wheel.
Right. So
That's what you were talking about.
You're going to take each one of those. You can put it down now. And you're going to take a tip and draw a little line with it. The black is going to be the bottom of your chart. Right?
Uh-huh.
And then the white's
Okay.
at the top. And then they can help you where you're going to put other things. But even your foundation can go in there. And if it's taking too long, you'll just get part way. But I want you to understand the process and I want you to finish it because it will be helpful when we move on to other makeups. Okay?
Okay.
I have like several different kinds of black, like several mascaras. Should I use all of them?
I would,
But all black.
I would just use one.
Yeah, okay.
And then an eye pencil black is going to be different.
Hmm.
And then a black, maybe cream liner or liquid liner will be different than a pencil. They'll,
But only one of each kind of
yeah,
thing.
the liquid liner is going to be the darkest, you know, because you'll see less white through it, but the pencil will be lighter. So it's just, you'll just note those kinds of things. So help each other out
Yeah.
and do the best you can. And I'm going to go into another room.
You're on mute.
How's your swatch?
It's going pretty well.
Had you started it before class?
Oh no, I just started it. I had to go and grab a piece of paper.
Okay. Christine, how are you doing? Can you show me where you're at with your value chart?
I just started and I got 4 down.
And you what?
I got 4 of them down.
4 of them down. So remember that you're starting with your white and you're trying to go from white to light to medium to dark to very dark to black, right? You're making a stair step.
Yeah.
Order. Okay, excellent. So you and Sarah can kind of work together if you have a question. Sarah has probably got hers. Line your makeups up on your table before you swatch them to your page, and then you'll be closer to getting them in the right order. At least you'll have some way to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go to another room. Check you guys soon.
Yeah, that's true. Hi, Pam.
The spy is here.
So we're questioning. We were just talking about. So this bizarrely is my darkest foundation, which looks like a rouge color to me, but we'll forget about that. So now we're starting the wheels. But where would I put the yellow? Would the yellow go next? But I still have some beiges and pinks.
This is the $24 question. The yellow
Wow.
is really tricky. And what I want you to do is try and block out the hue, the pigment, and work
Okay.
slowly with value. Think of where does it go? Where does the yellow go in the scheme of white to black? It's very tricky. It's a really interesting thing we used a lot.
I actually think it goes in between my first foundations.
And it may very well. So what I do is swatch it on a piece of paper and see if you can move it in there and see how that feels.
Okay.
And it may not be perfect, but what we're trying to do, and you can see you're getting information just by
Right.
putting it on white paper. And it will help you by saying, where do I want to go from here? Okay, Amy.
But these two, like, I would naturally put the yellow with the beige and then the pink with the rouges, but the pink's actually lighter than the yellow.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So you want to create that value chart with all the colors in one chart,
okay.
one line, and the pink is going to go above the yellow.
All
That's
right.
correct. You know, it's just going to be, and then when you do your dry rouge, it's even going to be more interesting. But what you're finding out about is how heavily pigmented the material is. Where does that particular piece of makeup go? Does it lean towards yellow, pink? You know, I always say, is it more red, more blue, or more yellow? I just stick right with that. Where is it moving towards? And then how translucent is it? How much do you see through it, right? It's a discovery information thing. And that's why I'm making you do it, because if I didn't make you do it, you'd overlook this part, and it's kind of fun.
So make sure you use the same amount of pressure.
Try and it's totally variable. Try and make it the same as you can. So use the same amount of material, the same amount of pressure, the same amount of distance, and then Once you feel like you've got everything down, I liked, Amy, you did a great palette, so then you could look at things and kind of number them and put them in order. How you doing, Colby?
You're muted, Colby.
So nice.
Colby's trying to unmute.
I'm doing okay. I mean, I start off with the
Right
white.
into your camera. Stick it up there so I can see you. Okay, just a second. Coming to you.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's like your natural fair P5 and your olive tan. It's like, I know that those two go together, but do they want to actually be reversed, or
Yeah.
just think about it.
Okay. But is this the right?
That's exactly that's the right process,
Got it.
because you are finding things out when you put it down, and then when you label the makeup, you'll be able to figure out exactly what that's doing. Well, for today, you'll be able to figure out more about what it's doing than what you knew before. Okay? We'll just take a few more minutes to do that, and we'll go right into the thin face. See ya.
Yeah.
So doing the value chart really provides you with additional information about each piece of makeup in your makeup kit, whether it is how much transparency you can see through the material, how heavily pigmented it is, whether the actual color of the material leans more towards red or towards yellow. Maybe some of them lean a little to the greeny tone. And then hopefully when you need to find something, you pick up the one that is closest to the idea of what you have in mind. You also then have a great value chart to which you can refer when you're making a makeup schematic. And how helpful is that going to be? Right? That's going to be extremely helpful for going forward when you really want to put something in and you need, oh, I need a little more red. I need a little murkier color. I need a little clearer color. Maybe if I add this. So that yellow is not bright. It's a muted goldenrod. And when you add that to something, it actually can create brightness, but tamps it down. I have to move the kettle away from me. So how many of you have done your thin face chart? Excellent. Want to share, Sarah? I should put my smock on. I'm going to give you screen share. Let's see yours, Sarah. Christine, we're looking at Sarah's. You're muted. If you're not ready, that's okay.
I was gonna hold mine up because I don't have it on my computer.
Yeah, holding it up is fine. That's what I expect you to do. Hold it up is okay.
Okay.
And again, remember, Sarah works in a digital format. Right.
So that's mine.
And we're going to go for realistic, so we won't have these. We're going to have more of a shape. We'll talk about that in a minute. And we'll start.
Okay.
The nose is looking great, but look at your nose stops here. Remember, you're going to have to shade here as well to end the nose, right? Great.
Yeah.
Okay, Christine, did you want to show your schematic or your makeup chart? Okay. Well, look at yours. It's your face map. I want to see what your face looks like for thin face. Do you have it?
I actually have it.
You do have it?
I do.
Great. Let's take a look. I'm pinning you so we can take a look at it.
Yes.
Okay, hold it up to your camera all the way. Even that's pretty good. Okay, I see that you're making the eyes very dark. I'm not sure I understand this this diamond shape that you've created. What you're trying to create is show us the skull as I put into the assignment, and then shadow the hollows, right? So you're going to have a hollow here and here. Maybe when you're working on, maybe when I'm doing my demo, you can work on your worksheet a little bit to get those more defined. Often when we see yellow on a makeup chart like this, it's to me reading highlight. Because
It's supposed to be,
you've put yellow like this. So I don't quite understand what you mean by that, okay?
it's supposed to be a shadow.
Okay, so what we're doing is we're working with the skeleton. The skeleton doesn't go like this. Remember the skeleton? I showed you a picture of the skull. It goes with the skeleton. I'm gonna get the skeleton and we'll talk about it in a minute. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Kara?
So
There you go.
I couldn't figure out how to do highlight to show up. So the boxes that are empty-ish are supposed to be highlight.
Right. Oh, that's what I was telling Christine, you know, if you're working on buff paper, you can use white, but often in this format, you can just use a pale yellow just to give us a little bit of something, or a light tan. But you've got it all in the right places. A little shadow here, shadowing here. When you look at your worksheet, note where your shadow comes. And so one of the things that you think about with your shadow, your left is much higher than your right.
Yeah, this one is better because this was the first one I did. And then this is the one where I figured out I needed to be lower.
So when you're looking at the schematic, right? And this is the zygomatic arch that sticks out in the schematic. Here,
Right.
remember when we saw the skeleton? This is the mandible and the maxilla, and there's the joint. That is going to be where the hollow starts, and it works underneath that cheekbone right here, okay? So it's gonna have a slight shape. This is a very contemporary fashion statement, this straight shadow line. We're wanting to shadow the skeleton. But so you've got it. And then when you look at it and you look at your makeup chart, you see, oh, whoops, I did this. Well, you know what? That happens with your face too.
Yeah, that side's definitely.
Yeah, you have to really, everybody can see that, right? Let me pin you back. See how the left side is up too high? It's actually breaking the plane of the cheekbone, where the right side is much better, right? But also look at, we want to work for balance on the makeup chart. So excellent. Thanks, Kara, for showing. Anybody else? No brave souls. You've all been very brave. Excellent. Okay. First thing we're going to do, right, is clean your face, get everything ready so that you're ready to do your highlight. I'm going to show you, I'm going to go get the skeleton. I'm going to show you a couple things, and I want to get a smock. I usually have it in here, but I think it's moved. I have it. Hooray. Okay. So this guy's a little bonier than me, but he's very easy to see all of the pieces, okay? So frontal eminence curves over your orbital fossa. Put your finger right on this part where the bone of your eye ends and the soft of your eye begins. That's your orbital fossa. When we're talking about shadowing, if you're shadowing to create a hollow, that's what's going to work, right? Locate where that is on your face. Then note that you have a slight shadow above the frontal eminence. And when you look sideways, you see it clearly on him, but even on every person, you can see that slight dip that happens here, and it's a curved shape. It's curved. It goes up and then down. And then a slight rounded shape above that. So what we're talking about is things that are depressions are going to catch shadow. Things that are bony are going to catch highlight. This is your infratemporal hollow. This is what's going to be hollowed right here. Okay, see this shape? Because again, the muscle falls away. This is the muscle that's holding the bone up. Here's your cheekbone, your zygomatic arch, this way. And it has slightly rounded and ends right here. It ends right here. Then the shadow starts higher and comes in and curves. So it's a little, it starts higher and comes in and curves this way and ends at the teeth right here. Then we have the lower jaw, which is going to catch highlight, and the shadow that happens underneath. Again, if we're not doing this, but if you're making a skeleton, one of the important things to remember is where does the bone end? All this is cartilage. This is all going to go away. Here's the bone, clear up here. Find where your bone is. And then when you trace it around, you see this shape very, very far. Look how far up on the face it is. And then how it comes around. Okay, so that's your nasal cavity. So you can always refer to this, and that's why we have the drawings on our Canvas page. So we'll talk about that. First thing we're going to do is just get a basic foundation. I'll do a demo, and then I want to give you, I'm definitely going to demo very briefly. I want to give you a full hour so that you can clean up, because remember today at 3:15 we're having the full theater group meeting. At 3:15 on Zoom, we're going to introduce all the faculty, all the staff, all the students, so that everyone can see who everyone is, since we don't even get to pass each other in the hallway. So I sent you that announcement, and I would, there's a flyer for it. So I really want everyone to come and be part of that. For this, you want to pick a good medium tone foundation, because we're going to build light on top of it and dark. I'm also going to pull my white out for extra punch, but I will start with my highlight. Wow, my character shadow that I munged up because I did hair color on it. Wow. This is an interesting thing. So Ben and I is a pretty reliable company, but I just want to show you, here are two colors. These are both the same color. No, they're not, but this is what happens with color variation. It happens in makeup, it happens in dye, it happens in clothing, that every single lot is going to have a slightly different tone. So you'll see that this one has a redder, deeper, like there's a more maroon influence in this makeup than in this one. This is a little bit flatter, a little bit grayer, although they both say they're the same character shadow 3. I suspect that this one is older, so it may have oxidized and changed color a bit. So those are the primary things I'm going to use on top of the foundation. And I'm going to get out a brush, a pencil. Christine, I see your hand, so just hold on a minute. And remember that our goal is to create extreme thin face That includes eyebrows, liner, and cheeks. I'm going to get a foundation. Which one do I want? I tend to go to that. So this is really important for your foundation. You want to make sure that you're picking one that you can have at least 3 shades lighter and 3 shades darker. Wally, do you have a question? Oh, he didn't come in. 3 shades lighter, 3 shades darker. Now you can see I'm holding up 3, and the difference between the shadow and the foundation is much greater than the difference between the highlight and the foundation. So I'm going to look for a darker foundation. Does that make sense? If I want the highlight and shadow to be equidistant from my foundation, I need a darker foundation, because this leap from this mid-tone to this dark tone is much bigger. It's more steps than from the highlight, which is this one, to the base. Good?
So why can't the dark tone be brighter?
You mean lighter?
Yes, sorry.
I don't think you'll get, I think what you need for this assignment is contrast. So for me personally, I think that you need it. We're not going for beauty. We're not going for glamour. We are going for extreme illness and ill health.
So a question about, you talked about contrast and stuff, and that you like have the 3 examples.
Yeah.
So like because like let's say you have 3. It's hard to hold up.
Foundations.
Yeah, but the cream shadow should be 1 degree away from both of them, but
Oh,
the 2 should be 2 degrees away. No, okay.
Ideally, let me draw this on the board. I'll show you that here's the one I had, and this is the one I'm going to use. See, it's darker.
Yeah, because you said go with the darker foundation for
But
it.
I'm going to show you this difference. So if we have
Okay.
a value chart,
Okay.
this would be more like an intensity chart. We'll go from okay, I have my foundation here. I have my highlight. Pay no attention to my bad spelling. I did that on purpose. And then here it's my shadow. So what I'm talking about is the relationship from here to here, the relationship from the highlight to the foundation. How much lighter is this? If this is 3 shades lighter than your foundation, then your shadow is 3 shades darker.
So is it 6 shades darker than the,
Highlight.
yes.
So as long as the interval between the base and the highlight and the base and the shadow, if these are equal, that's what you're going for. As close to equal as you can get. So, roughly, I mean, you don't need to measure it up against your value chart, but we're just going for the relationship between foundation and shadow and highlight. Okay, any other questions? And I'm just going to quickly start so I can give you enough time so that we can get to our meeting.
Okay.
All become clear. Remember, we're graded on the preparation and the effort. We're not graded on the execution at this point, right this second. So for fun, I'm going to do half my face, and we'll look at half the face after I get it done, and you'll see the contrast between what this face looks like and what the highlight and shadow face looks like. So I'm going to go right down the center. Remember, we talked about the fact that we can make the lips narrower. I certainly don't need to do that, as I have the skinniest lips in the universe. Not quite, but I can even make mine thinner. Again, we're not distorting the skin as we put this on. I'm just going to foundation on my brows a bit because I want to change the shape. And you can see by doing that, I've made this much lighter. Just want to change the shape a little, so a little more angular. So I'm good with half my face. Again, I'm just going to stop here. I don't need to go all the way down for this exercise. I'm going to start with highlight. I'm just going to go through and do highlight. I don't want to get my mask nor my clothing dirty, so I'm wearing my smock. You guys should all have a shirt or something. A man's dress shirt you can buy at the thrift store turned backwards is kind of great. And yeah, Colby, absolutely put on your wig cap. I'll get mine on too. So if you want to work along with me, that's fine. And then we'll still have some extra time at the end because I'll move kind of quickly. I had a bunch of hats on my hair in the last class, so whatever hairstyle I start with, it's not exactly what I end up with. Again, I'm putting all my hair underneath. If your hands are sticky, you can use your pencil to get your hair under your wig cap, right? And then I'm pulling my wig cap up. See the difference between the edge of my head and my hair? I want the wig cap to be close to my hairline. And then you get a really good, clear palette. So for now, I'm just going to show you the difference of what I've done, which is just the foundation. No foundation, foundation, so that we see that. Interesting when you cut off one of the banks of lights, how different that is. Okay, next I'm doing highlight. I am looking at what did I do with my brushes. Girl, what have you done with your brushes? You know, I traveled around with that other thing so much. I got to go find them.
Rhonda.
Okay, I have done them. I found them. And I used them. And I'm ready to go. So again, in our makeup application, we want to try to do all of one thing and then all of the other because it'll help define the end product. So I'm going to do all highlight first. Now, I just think it's less daunting. The shadow is more scary. So I'm going to highlight all these bony areas first with a good swatch. And then I'm really trying to make the nose elongated. So I'm going to take it over the tip and down. Again, I'll do the full. I'm only doing half. So I'm getting the bony area. I'm right on the cheekbone. I'm not going to move too, I definitely don't want to move down to the shadow area. Again, I'm avoiding this, which is my shadow area, and I can do the top edge up here, which is a softer highlight. Remember, this is a soft round at the top of the forehead. You can blend that in. This one you can be a little more dramatic with. I'm keeping my sponge because I don't want to get this is not a highlight right here. Okay, I will probably put a highlight here under my eye bag. We're going to work on eye bags after we do round, so don't get too worked up about it. We'll work on nasal labials also. But I'll just enhance this right here. Because mine are obvious, you may not have that. All right, that's enough of my highlight. I'm going to work with shadow just to get that in. One of the things that I do is I just run the sponge so that I'm not really blending, I'm just touching the edge so that I create a slightly softer edge. And the highlight, again, is on this part of the cheekbone. Leaving plenty of space for my shadow, and I don't want my shadows to touch. So I don't want the highlight and shadow to touch. I want there to be this no man's land of the foundation in between. So I'm going to put a little here, a little here. And there's a space there that it wants to come up in. Okay, we're not doing a fashion, we're doing a hollow. Going to do under the chin. Eye bag. The orbital fossa, so it looks like my skin is moving away from that. I'm really resisting trying to touch my face, so I want to just use my tools. Okay, and you can soften things out very easily. Do this very gentle shadow here. Again, this one's not completely as well defined. We do want to shadow the side of the nose to create that very narrow thing. One thing I want to show you is about powder. Okay. So I'm bringing my shadow up a little bit higher because I want to really accentuate this whole skeletal area here, right? But I'm keeping a space between the highlight and shadow of the foundation so that I'm going to have a no man's land where it can actually live and blend. Some places have a naturally darker shadow, like the nose is pretty well defined. Again, like Cara said, it is really hard to do it on yourself. You gotta think about that. Okay. I accidentally made a crooked nose, so now I'm going to go back in and straighten that out. There we go. So I'm alternating my brushes so that I have one for highlight and one for shadow. I want to get this shape in here so that that really sinks this into my face. Okay. And then I'm going to powder. And the reason why I want to do this is I want you to see how much goes away. So let's just look at this. The without. and the width. And it seems a bit extreme. Let's powder and see how extreme it seems after powder. Remember, with the loose powder, I like to put it onto the back of a paper towel, and then I roll my powder, my brush up, my powder puff in that. We're doing an extreme, go way out there. Remember, when you're powdering, you are stippling. Need to fix that up. Also, when you're isolating, for my brush, when you're isolating, don't worry about it. So we'll do a little round around the nose. See, my nose has almost disappeared now. As I lean back, after I've powdered, you see that 20% at least goes away. It's drastic. It's really drastic. But that's one thing you want to remember when you're working with this. And then you want to keep that going around the nose here, to here, to here. You don't have to work with the nasal labials. I'm just doing that because mine are really prominent. I'm going to do a little trick with just with a brown pencil. It's pretty, well, I'll use that one. So I'm going to do a more angular eyebrow, but not so that it might seem odd if we were looking at it without this, but you can see that it's going to create a more angular shape. I'll do inside the lip liner. Now we could have a glamorous skinny person. You know, I was looking at Karen Carpenter because she died of anorexia. And what she looked like before that and after. She was still performing. That pencil does not want to move. Okay. I made that lip very narrow. I can just put a little bit of color here. Fade that out. Just fade your pencil out to nothingness. And then I'll move that eye bag. And at 3:15, we want to go to our meeting. So I want everybody to be able to have enough time to finish. And so you see, I made a little correction on that eye bag. All right, it's a little too deep. And now we'll look at white paper. Half of the face and the other half of the face. So I'm already pretty angular, but now I'm really scary. Now let's see if I put my hair down, is it even a believable character? What if I wanted to make this a thinner face? I'm going to part my hair in the center. And we'll talk about texture in a minute, but let's put the hair down. And you can see that just by putting the hair in the center, again, it really amplifies the face. So you can see between the two, we've got a much more angular face, yet still believable. Half of a thinner lip, thinner nose. You're seeing this side too, though. I could even do a little more shadow on the nose, right? So we've got soft highlight, medium shadow, highlight, shadow, deepest shadow, a little bit of accentuation of the nasal, the jawline here. Okay, questions? What if I made it stiff hair, right? Like this. And taking away the wig cap, but interpreting the center part still gives us that vertical line. All right, scary. Okay, questions? Good. Start with your thin face and let's go for that. This is a technique you're going to say, okay, I either can really work with thin face or I can really work with round, and you'll find out on this exact assignment. You'll really find out.
Did you do something like on top of your eyes, or do you look like that?
What I did,
Like it looks,
I shadowed.
yeah.
No, I did significant shadow, right?
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it.
Where am I? Wait, where'd my shadow brush go? Oh, put it way over there. Yeah, so I shadowed here, completely up,
Okay.
and then tapered it, right? And shadowed here, highlighted like a soft shadow and a shadow.
Okay.
And I could even shadow here. Let's try that. Let me get rid of this. I can't do that and hold my hair. Hold on a second. Let's just get rid of the hair. So yeah, the wig cap is great. When you're wearing your great, it just makes it neutral. So I'd like to shadow the lid now. Let's try that. Because it's a little bright. You can see it's bright.
Yeah.
Better. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a really good thing, is to kind of move through it fairly quickly, do all your highlight, take a look. How's that working? Then go back in, add your shadow, and then take a look, time to have a critique, and then you can see, okay, what could make this better? I mean, I have on my eyeliner, one thing I can do is I can take that off. That would really make a difference on this eye. In fact, I think I'll do it. Let's just see how that works. And then I wanted to make sure you have enough time so that we don't have to go to the meeting like this. I always end up at this meeting looking like some kind of ghoul. Oh, well. I actually used to have us do real deal skeleton, but it, you know, that was because I wanted to work just with black and white. It was, I think it's actually, I didn't realize that I was just a young babe. It was too much of a, it was too hard to do. So I'm going to take this off. That way I don't have a well-defined eye, and that will really help sink that in. Powder. I've really done something there. Okay, now that I've taken off the liner and I've shadowed the top, it makes a huge difference. That's why when we work with old age, I'll really caution you about don't wear mascara that day. It's hard to get off, and it just, you know, really will. So try to make this shape, go around your zygomatic arch so we see it. It's sort of a triangle or a check mark You can go under here. And then remember that once you get the hair down, things change a lot. No, I can let you in. Oh, you mean the patio door? Yeah, yeah. Just do the patio door. Okay, I have all this stuff to put away. So go ahead and start working, and I will start removing so that I can be ready for the meeting, because it's 1 hour away now. So let's make sure that we end a little early so everyone has time to get their face back on. Here, and this is the faculty person. Yeah, I always end up running from this place to there, and I end up being so bizarrely. Again, try not to touch your face with your hands, and I'll tell you why.
I don't have anything else.
Why don't you have brushes?
Yeah, they're not that
You
good.
only get 2 brushes in the kit, and you really need probably 4. But the reason why I say that is because the second you touch your hands, you're contaminated, and then it's really hard to get the color out of your fingers. And even if you keep something here and you wipe on them, you're still going to have it in your fingers. So it's going to, your makeup will continue to be contaminated, or it'll end up getting kind of muddy. So don't forget that little point in the eyebrow.
What point?
We want everything to be angular. So your eyebrows are not round or straight. They're at an angle. When we're in person, I have you go out to the Garvin Theater and see what your makeup looks like from far away. And then I have you go into the Jerkwitz Theater and see what your makeup looks like from 10 feet. So it's really, really interesting. But one thing that never changes is intention and the specificity of line. You really want those to be completely, always, you want to keep that no man's land between highlight and shadow. Don't blend them together. Keep it really separate. Okay, I'm going to step away and heat up my washcloth so I can wash my face. I'll be right back. I'm in the room. I'm going to come and see you guys in, again, just a second. So my problem with my brushes was I hadn't washed them out since the last time. So that is bad girl. I'm going to come in and pin you and take a look at where you are. I'll just go down the line. So you get this stuff off. I'm just going to pause for a minute, and then when we come back, let me know if you are okay with being recorded. You okay with that?
Yeah, of course.
So you have a beard, and that's going to, it's going to affect certain things because you kind of go towards that hobo look. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to work against that. And one of the things, now just put your face up. Let's take a look. So I see that you've highlighted here.
Mm-hmm.
Your face is working from here to here. I see nothing up here or on the sides. Have you done that yet?
No.
So that's why I say work all of one shade, like all of the highlight, and then do all of the shadow, because that way you get balance, okay? And then, yeah, sometimes the eye bag comes all the way out. Sometimes it's a little more defined, like it's darker towards the center. Right now, yours is darker towards the outside. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe just taking, like I did, the pencil, one of your brown pencils, and just helping give some definition right here.
Okay.
Then you can use your foundation sponge and just slightly touch this, and it'll just lighten that up just a touch. Okay?
Yeah.
And then Did you do your eyebrows?
Yeah, a little. I have dark
Don't
ones,
do
so I
that.
try to angle
So
them.
here, remember our sequence of application? There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
So get everything on, powder, then your eyebrows are not something that need to be powdered after your pencil. So do those last. And that way you have everything more together before you do that. But so I think your eyebrow shape, particularly on the right, is really working because it's a little more angular. The one on the left, slightly softer. I would just do that. Just confine your eye bag because we want to make sure that you don't come out to here, which is your cheekbone.
Okay.
Right? And then do your hollow here. And remember, this is a highlight and the little shadow. Keep going. Doing great.
Thank you.
Okay, Christine, I'm coming to you. Let's see how you're doing. Christine? Okay. I'd back up a little bit so we have a little bit more even tone light. Okay. It's looking a little all over on this side. I can't turn slightly to your right, just slightly. Don't look at your screen. You turn your face to your right. Don't look at your screen. There you go. Okay, and now look slightly back and then keep coming around and then turn all the way your face to the left. Okay, all right. So Christine, here's a couple things that are happening. Your highlight needs to be defined right here on the bony part. Touch your cheekbones. Okay, this is your highlight. Then underneath, sink your finger in underneath your cheekbone from here to here, a little higher. You don't push your skin up, just go straight in. Okay, that's your shadow. And one of the things that's happening is your highlight has come down too low on your face, and then your shadow is on your jawline, and this is really a highlight, right? So that's why you should just do all highlight, stop, take a look at it, and then do all shadow. So right now, sort of take this away because it's now all shadow, so it's going towards a beard instead of towards a jawline and then a shadow. The shadow goes under the bony edge. Can you find the bony edge of your face right here? Yeah, so the shadow goes, put the finger there again. Put your finger on, your shadow goes under that, right? And what you're touching on the bone, that's highlight. Before you can put highlight on top, you need to kind of take things off a little bit. Yeah, okay, good job. Thank you. Ida. Yeah, how you doing?
Good, I think.
What do you think? A little bit scary?
I was like looking in the mirror from a distance and I really looked like a ghost. So,
What do you think you can do about that?
what?
What do you think you can do about that?
I mean, I thought that was a good thing.
Okay, so one thing is if you wanted to seem more lifelike, I thought the ghost, the nose is working well, the cheekbones well.
Mm-hmm.
You can make the lips a little narrower by putting your brown pencil right here. Right
Okay,
now,
yeah.
the lip is a little lush, particularly
Yeah.
on the bottom.
Yeah.
But one thing is, if you don't want to look dead, but you still want to look thin, then you can use your slight powder blush, tap that brush out. Remember, touch it. Whoops. Tap it out, and then you can just barely touch that skin so you look alive instead of dead. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I don't understand like what that does. Like how does that change what it looks like?
It adds color. Because right now we're working in basically white to light tan to dark tan.
Yeah.
And so when you basically gray the face out, you remove the pigment. And when we have a little pigment, we have a little more life. So you can just very, very slightly add in just a touch of color. Don't have to, but when you said you look like a ghost, if you don't want to actually be a ghost, then you could do that. And then don't forget to get your hair going.
But how should that look? Like,
remember we did, if you want to create angularity, you center part and you can bring it down.
okay.
When we want to create round, we want to have everything round and have it be round.
Okay,
So
so
that's
just
one thing.
straight down.
I think center part straight down.
Okay.
I'd like to see a little more,
Can
a little more angle on the
I
eyebrow.
say something?
Not yet.
Angle. Like in what way?
So right now they're quite close to the brow, and they're sort of just a very
Did
subtle.
I do it like on the skin, like above the actual brow?
Yeah, you can actually, if you use your comb brush, even on my wimpy brows, if you use your comb brush and brush them up all the way, then you can actually draw your line at the very top, kiss the top of the hair and bring it down. That way you can create more of an angle instead of that natural arch. Just an idea.
Okay.
Okay. So you try a couple things, and then let's see how it goes.
Yep.
Cara, I'm coming to see you.
Oh my goodness. I'm a hot mess. Okay. I've done
One thing that
every
one thing
except
that's not helping is just the angle of your camera. Like if you could turn your computer, are you on a laptop?
yeah.
Okay, so here's one of my secrets. Orange box. So I'll show you the difference. If you're looking up at your camera, you're getting a distorted view this way. And if you
Well,
can,
I have a box that I put it on. So this is how I
Okay,
normally sit.
better. Yeah, just stay there. That's better. You can draw, even bring your shadow down a bit, I think, don't you think, below the jawline?
Okay.
Yeah, and you can actually you can do a swath of shadow.
Oh,
You know,
shoot for you.
like look at oh dang it, her name went out of my face. Christina McCarthy. They really can paint her up. So just do a little bit more here. I think your cheeks are working well.
So I haven't powdered yet. I'm afraid I'm going to lose everything
Well,
when I powder.
That's a good experiment. You'll learn that. You'll learn what's going to happen. Yeah, and you can keep it right to there. You don't need to go any further, but just to show you that what a change that can be.
Okay.
Right. I would, and again, you can curve that just slightly in there. Yeah, exactly right. Yep, kiss that. And your hollow right here is a little lower. It wants to be just a little lower than where you have it.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, right there is the center. You got it. And then just try powdering. The beauty of this makeup is you can put on top of powder, you can do it again. It's not a problem. You could even narrow the tip of the nose slightly more right here. Like just shadow that in right here. Yeah, so that you get, and then when we do round, we're gonna make bulbous nose and it's gonna just be hilarious. We're gonna laugh so hard. Yeah. And then you can decide if you want her to have, a look, like a makeup look or something. You could do that on top of it if you wanted. Getting there.
All right.
Certainly a difference.
Mm.
Yeah. Wait till we photo and you put it up next to your glamour.
Oh.
Sarah, how you doing? Can you turn your face to the right slightly? There, yeah, because the lighting is shadowing on your left side of your face a bit. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And I get it. And you guys are really doing a good job. I mean, the fact that we're all hanging in here and we can see each other is amazing. I'm really, really happy. Okay. first comment, I think it's too subtle
Okay.
because you haven't powdered and what you have will disappear. So I'd go back in first with your highlights. Here, here. I can see it up here, but I know when you powder it'll disappear. And
All right.
get a line happening right there. Okay. And
Okay.
go back in with your shadow again and just add, or you could powder right now and then it might grip it a little bit more in case you feel like, are you feeling like the makeup is disappearing into your face a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, then powder, which will help stabilize everything, and then start your highlight again. And you can, that way you're just sort of kissing the top of what you've got, what you have happening. Be
Okay.
careful about bringing your shadow too close in. Your shadow really wants to curve right around your cheekbone, and I can see it. I can see your cheekbone right here. And put your finger on your right cheek. Okay, that's where it stops. So when you drag your finger down here towards your lip, you still have your shadow there. It should stop right where you had your finger. You had it in exactly the right place. And then
Okay.
bring it down around there. Yeah, exactly right. Okay, so powder and then go back at it. Amy. Oh, you're so glamorous. Unmute. Okay. That's a crack up. Is that a headband?
This, yeah.
Headband. I almost thought in a way it could almost be a mask. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
It's on an elastic.
Oh, yeah. Christine has a question before we start.
Let me go back to Christine.
It's kind of different. That elastic headband reminds me of a burglar or a murderer's mask.
Okay. So let's stay on topic. I want you to continue working on creating your highlight and shadow, Christine, and I'm going to work with Amy now. Thank you.
I think maybe I need to do more highlight.
Yeah, I know you haven't powdered yet. I can tell by the texture that's going on. So I think what I would like you to do is powder so that you can get a little more dramatic afterwards.
Okay.
Because you're so subtle, when you powder, everything's going to disappear. So just think about that. And then I want you to do, you have great lush lips. Let's see if we can get those even thinner. So when you're doing your line, you're not going to do it on the edge of your lip. You're going to do it where your lip is, not where your lip curves back down in, but where your lip ends. Yeah. So you're going to go up about 1/8 of an inch. But you can powder if you want, or you can just put in more contrast and start with your highlight.
Okay, I'll do that. Contrast.
Lois. Whoops, there you go.
Hi.
Hi, great to see you. Well, this is going to be your natural inclination because you have a thin face. When we go to round face, that's going to be your struggle. But yeah, you've got really great, if you guys want to take a look at Lois's face, she has really nicely defined the superciliary arch above the eyebrow. Really, you can see the highlight, and the shadow is under the eye bag. The nose nicely highlighted, the cheekbone nicely highlighted, and then the hollow for between the mandible and the mandible are really nicely defined. So part of it is, of course, her natural inclination is that way, and you can just say, well, paybacks when she has to go to round face next time. But you've got everything in the right place, and also no eye makeup, which is helpful. Did you powder?
Yes.
Yes.
You're not
So-
enough.
No, well, your nose is a little shiny. I'm not so worried about that. Nice job thinning the lips as well. Take a look at that. Very nicely done. And you know, you haven't over powdered, so you still have some life left in the face. So I think you're ready to take your selfie. Yeah. Anybody else want to make a comment on Lois? Did a nice job.
Lois, really good. It looks scary, like in a good way. I can't believe.
Thank you.
She looks like she could be, you know, anorexic, ill, whatever. So that's what we're going for. Usually what I get is a bunch of people that have this one woman who's a meth addict, and you get her picture 10 years ago and you get it now, and she's just like so. Usually a couple people have that woman's picture when they Google or search, extreme thin face, they get this crazy, scary looking. Okay, Svensson, can you video or no? You're just gonna photo? You can chat. You can tell me a chat. So when we come, what we're gonna do, folks, is we're going to, from now on, I'm gonna just send an email that says, join the link from the home page, so that we all are on the same link. That's always the one I use, and I'm not sure why everybody has a problem. Let's see, Susan.
Can I say something? Pamela? Pamela?
Who is talking?
I am. I want to tell you why I've been in and out. I've got my electrician here, so, okay, so I kind of disappeared.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Sue. Yes, that's what I thought. I was just asking about you. So your electrician is there?
Yes, he is, because I had lost some electricity and he's here fixing it, so I had to go back and forth, and I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I didn't know he was going
to. Why don't you just continue at your own pace? And
okay.
If you need to stop,
I know,
and start over, if we want to Zoom on an office hour, we can do that too. So don't worry.
Okay.
I mean, people have doctor's appointments and all kinds of things. So getting your power on is really important for safety. So I want you to be able to focus on that. Don't worry about this part at all. And we can come back to that soon. Okay? Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't stress out about that, because getting your power working before it's dark is really an important thing.
Well, it's not out in all my house, just some of it. That's all.
That's enough. Some of it is enough.
Some of it is stuff.
Yeah. Okay, great job, everybody. Okay, I will be coming back for last looks. We have maximum 30 minutes left, but that gives almost no time before we go into our meeting. So I'm going to give you 7 more minutes. And I'll do a 7-minute facial repair so that I can look like a human being. Sometimes I look like a Gould at these meetings. Well, I actually sort of like that.
Really? I was trying to look like a sick hobo.
Okay, Christine, I'm going to come and visit you first. So I'd like you to make sure that you've try everything in the right place that we've talked about. I have to say I'm so spoiled because I'm actually propped up my computer and then I can still see the big mirror behind in the makeup room. So I'm really lucky. I can't wait till we get back. I'm sure everybody feels that way. Wait till we see everyone today. We'll really be lonely.
Yeah.
But how many of you auditioned for the Antigone? Colby, did you?
Did I
audition for Antigone?
No, I didn't. I have a really full plate this semester, and I'm not in any acting courses. It was all background type stuff that I want to focus on. And I did a Zoom play last spring.
Yeah.
And I want to see one now instead of be in one. We did the one acts.
Yeah.
So,
I was my costume class helped you guys.
Oh yeah. So we it worked out the way it would, but I want to see one, and now I know what it's like to be in the Zoom setting. So if it's still like this in spring, I'll just still go for it to be in it. But
I have a really great Emmy magazine came out with a bunch of really inventive Zoom still photos that I'm going to share with Michael, because they really did things like leaned into the picture, so it made it feel like you were there on the other side of the face. And I think there's a lot of things that we have not yet manipulated that we really can. And one of them was trying to find a prop. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Like, you know, if one guy is reading a book, you know, like this, and it looks like they're right beside you. And so there's things that you can do that really can help tell the story in a more dramatic way. Sue, you're back with us. Great. Let me pin you and see how you're doing. Okay. How's your wig cap working with your hearing aids? Is it okay where you have it placed? Can you pull it back just a little? Well, it doesn't matter. You're not going to have your hair. You'll have your hair out for the picture. That's good. Yeah. Okay, good. You don't have to do this. Yeah. Okay. I think your eye bags are in about the right place. A little too much light here for this particular makeup, because this one we're trying to sink this in. And then I see your highlight here. The shadow, put your hand right here under your cheekbone, your finger. Lower, lower. Do you feel the edge of the bone? Feel the very underneath. You can feel underneath there's a little like a point you can stick your finger in. Okay, that's the point of darkest shadow. And then from there, it goes up to just, you can feel the cheekbone and there's a hollow that comes all the way down. That's where you want your shadow. Confine it to that spot. Yeah, exactly. Right now your shadow's creeped up a little bit on this part of the cheekbone, and you want the cheekbone to have highlight going all the way across that bone. So that would be one correction I'd ask for, is just take the shadow down and make it come right to that finger point. And that will help change the whole face shape that you have going. And then just turn sideways for a sec. Yeah, go ahead and turn slower. Right, okay, so very good. And then turn back. Now, one other thing that I would say is the highlight, the shadow here, this is really quite tricky, but there's a shadow area where the eye socket ends, but then there's a bony part that's highlighted before you get to this hollow on the side. Okay, so you have to make sure that the shadow from here doesn't bleed all the way over. It's definitely a shadow going towards the eye, a bony area, which is just going to be your foundation, and then a shadow that's right here, kind of in a soft, I don't know, like between a half moon and a triangle. Yeah, so right here, I think you have a little too much shadow on the outside of the eye. So you can just take your sponge and just move that away with your foundation sponge, and then work on getting your shadow here in this area. Yeah. You have your sponge. There you go. And you can just softly move that away. Okay, Colby, I'm coming to you next.
Okay.
Better.
Okay.
I think you've got your shadow happening in a better place. If you want to curl around your nose like that, you can actually bring that all the way around. Like bring it, have it split that plane very subtly, but it'll kind of create that slight demonic nostril effect and give your nose a narrower thing. You can also shadow just a teeny bit more on the bridge of the nose to create that narrowness. Looking good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Lois, if you are set, you can go ahead and take off because you're approved and done, and we're going to work with round on Monday. Let me just quickly, I want to just regroup here for a second for Monday before I let you go. And then I'm going to work my butt off and get all these things posted up. I was unfortunately driving for 25 hours. That's why I did not get everything posted last weekend. So
Pam, I was outside taking my selfie.
yes.
And my neighbor walked by and said, "Are you okay? Do you have So apparently I may not look thinner, but apparently I look really sick.
You're working it, whatever. I think you look thinner, but I do think it's great. You're working it. And here's the thing. She didn't say it looks like you have makeup on. She said, are you okay?
Right.
And so that means even though it's rather dramatic in our view, it is actually pretty great when it's up close even. So that's very successful. Okay. So what we're doing on Monday, okay, this will work really well because Monday I'll have you start with round face character. And then what is scheduled is a demo for middle-aged makeup, and I will do 2 different things. I'm going to try and make myself younger, and also we'll work on the nasolabial folds so that we see that. We'll use this modeling of the skull, and then your middle-aged character is not due till Wednesday. So we'll have some time Monday to do the round face, and then we'll have a demo and we'll play with a few things and working those nasolabial folds. Also, I have neglected to give you your quiz, so I will post a quiz, which is about just a few general questions about the syllabus and a couple of other things that you can do. And then it'll be in the quiz format, so you can just do it in the quiz format, multiple choice and short answer. And I will post that and let you know when that happens. And hopefully I'll get caught up, read your questionnaires, and people who want to work on production. I have we're going to be working on Antigone. We'll get some research going. That'll be really fun. Okay, so you're finished, Cara? Let me just double check you. Yep. Yep. It's you are a subtle artist. You know, eventually you'll get to the push to the extreme. Too many.
I was thinking about that because 26 years, and when I first started out, my agent was like, clean, 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 beauty, 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 because that's where you actually get your money, is from commercial and advertisement. So he ingrained in me, but it actually put a roadblock in my head. And so like, I'm trying to like cake on the makeup, and it's just, my caking on is just not enough. It's hilarious. So I'm trying, and I'm mindful of it, but you know, 26 years of doing one thing, it's hard.
Well, you know, here's one thing that's going to happen. This is, it's totally fine, because we'll go to middle-aged next for Wednesday, and then we go smashing into clown, and there is no subtlety there. We're going to pick something that is very unsubtle, and you need to particularly work unsubtle, so that we'll work really with line, really with color. And that the whole thing about that makeup is that we're working technique and color. So it just explodes that idea of subtlety. And then we go right to animal. And I'm going to show you some animals that will blow you away, that have been done by other students that are just really interesting. You know, and it creates this visual that you have, so that you, somehow it erases what happened before, so that you can actually move forward now, because now you're being you're not even being a human.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping, like, because when I first started out, I remember the time that it clicked and everything just clicked.
Yep.
I can do beauty, I can do high def, and I can actually usually I can do skin tone matching.
Right.
Like business. That used to be my thing. And I remember it clicking. So I just keep telling myself, I just have to keep going until I get to the click.
And that's the thing. That's exactly right. I think if we were going to use psychological terms, we'd be calling it the gestalt of the learning. And it tends to take at least 6 weeks. You know, it just tends to take at least 6 weeks because it's so unfamiliar. And now we're not even in the same room. So everybody's pulling on their hip waders and getting them all the way up to get to this point. So it will happen because it happens every single time.
I hope so.
I know, we're just waiting for it. It's going to happen. It's really great. So you're good to go. And please stick around for our meeting. Sarah, you ready to have your final? Yeah, oh, much better. Now, I think this one's a little strong, can do a little subtler just because this is a more subtle bone thing. Like when we look at our skeleton, you know, this is much more subtle than this one. But yes, you're definitely, you can see it now. And now you're getting some more dimension happening. Again, don't let this creep up too high, and then keep your shadow right here. You can actually move that down just a little bit. Great. Have you powdered? Okay. So did you just smooth this out slightly? Did you selfie? Okay. So I would smooth it, selfie, and you're good to go. Let's see, Sue. Better. Okay, so you're getting better. Now let's just try and get it into the right spot. Again, this is where your shadow is. Here. Make sure you're not creeping it, letting it creep down so that the highlight, there's always this layer. Highlight, foundation, shadow. Foundation, highlight, shadow. So you never want them to blend together, because what happens is that creates something what we call muddy. When highlight and shadow go together on top of foundation, it's not as precise and clean line. Don't worry about it. Again, we're not actually great in execution. We're just trying to figure out how the materials work for us, right? So good for you for sticking in there. The forehead's looking great. You've got this shadow exactly in the right place. Can you feel that? That feels like it's in the right place. Yeah, this one is very, very, very good. Very in the right place. So did you try powdering? Try that. And then try your selfie. And you're making great progress. Okay, let's go over to Amy. Almost done. Oh, Ida. Wait, I'm going to you, the dead girl. Yeah, don't you think that the hair down really helps? It's very dramatic. Great. Did
I
you
think so. I don't know, maybe. It would have been cool to like have done the collarbones and stuff, but I'm just pretending I don't see that.
Yes, if you want to go ahead and go down and do that, you do these two chords.
Yeah.
And then the collarbone, and then the hollow here. Yeah. You can absolutely do that. You can go all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since you have something that accommodates that with your costume. Your little spaghetti straps.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually wearing like a robe when I took the picture so that I didn't see that, because it's distracting because it doesn't match.
Right. And that's, I mean, and that's fine. What we're doing is we're really trying to just get this understanding of where's the bone, where's the skeleton, where do we highlight and shadow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Christine, you ready?
Yes, and I do have something to say to Ida. You remind me of one of the characters from Princess and the Frog.
Oh, from Princess and the Frog.
Is that good?
It's really good and really bad at the same time.
Because it's the witch.
Not a witch. It's actually when he sings, his name is Frog Solo.
Uh-huh.
And when he sings, My Friend's on the Other Side.
Okay. Christine.
He looks exactly like that.
Now, did you take your makeup off?
My old one.
Because I don't see your skeleton now. I don't see your highlight here and your highlight. Now I see sort of your face. So I need to see your highlight on your jawline, your shadow here. Put your finger right here. Put your finger under your cheekbone. Okay. So just one finger. And one finger on your other side. Put your face straight in your camera, straight in your computer. There you go. So it needs to be a little bit lower on this side. This is your this is your shadow. Can you feel your teeth back there? Yeah, you can feel them with your finger, right? That's where your shadow needs to come this way. If you could get it this way, that would be perfect. So let's work on just getting your shadow.
Okay, I do have an idea for my clown face.
Okay, we're not at clown yet. And
Yeah, but
we're
I
not
know, but I know, but I'll have a great idea for the one that I'm thinking of.
So when you get that great idea, get a folder on your desktop and you write clown face and stick your pictures in there.
Okay,
So we do clown face, which is going to be not next week, but the following.
okay.
You'll have it ready to go.
Yeah, I know the character.
Okay, we're not going to talk about it now. It'll be a secret. Put that on your desktop so that we can see it in 2 weeks when we're doing that.
Okay.
So do your character shadow first right here. And then I want to see your highlight and shadow on your nose. Amy, almost ready? Oh, you are one of our other subtle girls too.
I just feel like every time I'm doing something, my face rehydrates and I have to do it.
Okay, so here's the thing. Some certain things happen depending on the amount of moisture we have in the air. Really foggy days, really hot days, your skin's going to react the same. Your skin is going to react differently and it's going to suck the makeup and it disappears. It feels like it's just sliding off your face somehow. That happens. And who knows why. And sometimes you just like, okay, this day is not being the way I want. So one thing that can help is really do toner before so that you get your pores really closed. The cool it down, splash it down, maybe not a super extreme light moisturizer before you do your makeup so that your makeup's not just going all the way into your face. But you have everything in the right place. Okay. So that's the good, you've got your shadow here. It's just that you could do more. Okay. So we get more contrast. One thing you might try, did you selfie?
Not yet.
Okay, so selfie now. One thing you might try is just take your white and just kiss part of the bone structure here, 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 just very lightly, and see if that just builds the contrast so you have a little more separation between your highlight, your foundation, and your shadow. Just take your selfie now and then just try that as an experiment. Okay. It may just give you that little bit more brightness. Okay? Okay. All right. Any questions? Because yeah, Colby, I'm coming to you.
Okay, I've improved a little. I've made the lines more.
Colby, you have improved every single day.
Oh,
I mean, compared when we saw your corrective to your glamour to this, look at you're creating, if you scoot back 1 foot, you are creating a great character here.
It's really good.
It's a completely different character. When you take this picture and then you put it against your glamour, night and day. So, and even when you smile, look how everything's working with your facial structure, right? You're ahead because we're going to work on those nasal labials on Monday. But I would say the only thing that I would do at this point, you could do slightly more right here, just here right in the deepness of start at your nose.
Okay.
There and move down and stop right here. Fade it at what I call, this is the iris line. So you fade it right there, just a tiny touch more, but I would selfie this, then try that.
Okay, a little bit more shadow.
Yeah, okay. Just right here, just take your brush. Oh, I moved my brushes because I have them cleaning. So it'd be just like this. Take your brush and go from here to here.
Okay.
So flatten your brush out, remember? Flat, flat, flat. Don't let your brush be bumpy. Yeah. So that you can control it. Okay. And then, so it's flat, flat, flat. And then when you put it on, you've got one line that you're putting. There you go. And stop. Don't go too far, too far, too far. Yeah. So now do your other eye. Don't go back.
Okay.
Just start in the corner. All the way up here in the corner, way by where the top and the bottom eyelid meet. Yep. And go down and then stop. Stop. Then what you do from that point is you actually use almost no color and you feather that so that it disappears.
Okay.
And when you're doing it, it's like this. You're making a line like this, and you actually feather it into nothing. So I actually have a great eye bag look, but I'll save that for next time.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah, I think this is night and day.
Thank you.
Really great job.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think everybody deserves a round of applause today. Good job hanging in there. I'm going to check in with Christine. Everybody can leave, and I'll see you in 15 at the meeting, I hope. We have a game we're going to play.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Christine, let's see what's up. Okay. You know, one thing I'm wondering is if we can get, your light is very yellow. Does it seem yellow to you?
Not really. It's just because of the light.
It's because of the light bulb.
Yeah.
Is there any way you can get partial daylight?
I can't.
Oh, because you have no window in your room, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes when you're right now, like when you're looking down, your computer screen is also giving us a little bit better color. So let's put your face up again. And so you've got your eye bags happening. Those are looking pretty good. You could still use a little more shadow right here. And then take your selfie and send it to me. Okay?
Okay.
And are you coming to the meeting?
Yes.
I sent you the announcement. Right? Did you find it on your announcement page? It's in your email and it says department meeting flyer. And you just click on that.
Okay.
Okay, see you soon.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.